My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you.
Shalom. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, the 144,000 men that are doing this work in sincerity and in truth across the four corners of the earth. And much love to the 130 believers out there. To you all, I say shalom. I pray, Lord willing, that this lesson is edifying through the Spirit. So today is January 20th, 2025, and as we all know, it was the inauguration of DJ Trump, Donald J. Trump, who's elected back as the 47th president of the United States of America. All right, and it's actually a good title. But something I was meditating on, I probably played the clip already. I gotta edit it and throw it in here. But you know, even though I will say, you know, they don't now all of these Edomites up there, they don't really believe in God. They have all these prayers and everything, but they believe in Satan. They don't really believe in the Most High, right? Not a beard in sight. You had J.D. Vance, the only one with a beard. He's still a demon too. But you know, just something I was noticing about Donald Trump when he gave this speech. Now, afterwards, he technically did say thanks be to God or something like that. He did. But I can see the momentum of his speeches and how it could turn proud. You know, they call themselves the Proud Boys. How it can become proud in due time after he has this so-called throne for some time. You know, and just how he speaks, it reminded me of two men in the Bible. It just clicked, and I was like, man, he sounds like, yeah, no, and you know, we believe Donald Trump to be Nero in the reincarnation, but I'm not saying he's coming as these people, but the spirit of pride that comes over men when they're put in powerful positions and think that it's by their might they're doing things. So the first one that it reminded me of was Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, and I do want to read most of this story. But I guess I'll jump. I probably shouldn't jump to the point first. But for you know, for sake of just admonishing on it, I will jump to the point, then I'm going to read back up to just get more clarity on the story. So in the book of Daniel 4, let's see here. I'll start at verse 29 and read down, and then I'll jump back up to bring the story to it. But Daniel 4 and 29, it says, you know what? I'm not going to do it like that. I'm not. Y'all got to wait for the build up. You got to get the story as it is. You know what I'm saying? So it helps bring the point more. But Daniel 4 and verse 9, it says, O Belteshazzar, that was Daniel's Babylonian name. All right, he was called Belteshazzar. It says, O Belteshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in thee, and no secret troubleth thee. Tell me the visions of my dream that I have seen and the interpretation thereof. So basically, Nebuchadnezzar was like, he called him master of the magicians because Daniel was recently promoted above all the magicians because he knew how to interpret dreams. And so King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream again, and he wanted Daniel to answer it for him. So he explained the dream. He said, "Thus were the visions of mine head in my bed. I saw and behold a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. The beasts of the field had shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the bowls thereof, and all the flesh was fed of it." So he had this great vision about seeing this tree that everybody was able to eat. It was large, it was pleasant, it was going to the skies. Right? He says, "So I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and an holy one came down from heaven. He cried aloud and said thus, Hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it and the fowls from his branches." Ultimately, this was an angel, right? When he says a watcher and a holy one came down from heaven. So this is an angel basically saying to cut the tree down and mess everything up. Change was its prior position. "Nevertheless, leave the stump of the roots in the earth, even with the band of iron and brass, and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts and the grass of the earth." All right, so he's saying leave a part of it because we were just going into roots the other day. If a root is still there, it's able to reestablish life, or it's able to bring back something again, right? But it says, so this is about King Nebuchadnezzar, but it says, "Let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him," all right, with your years. "This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand of the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth over it the bases of men." And so we bring that verse out a lot. But this was originally about Nebuchadnezzar, but the thing is, the Most High does rule in the kingdom of men, right? And so right now you have the Edomites, the so-called white nation, ruling over the earth, right? You see Donald Trump in his pompous position. You see all of them at the inauguration. It was 90%, 95%, 97% Edomites up there. Even in the crowd, you had weird people up there, right? You got Kamala Harris randomly saying, they had to force her ass to be there. She's dating an Edomite too. Her husband is an Edomite. All right. You had even the Paul, but I don't know why Jake Paul was there, but they were up in there, the Paul brothers. But yeah, you had Elon Musk up in there. All those people without beards, but nonetheless, they're ruling right now. They ruling the earth. He even said, Donald Trump, basically his first line of his speech, he said, "We are returning to the golden era," or this is about to be the golden era of America, which is spiritual. And matter of fact, before I continue in this, which is spiritual, okay? He doesn't know what he's really saying, right? This is Isaiah 14:4. It says, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with the continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. You see that? So he said the golden era. Well, America is the golden city, but it's going to be ceased. It's going to be brought to a close, right? And the Lord's going to break the staff of the wicked, right? The scepter of the rulers. So America's not going to rule for much longer. They think they are. They think they're golden, right? But hey, man, you're about to be smelted, man. You're about to be brought down because they smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke. One of the first things that he's doing is want to do mass deportation. That's ruling in wrath, man. Ruling the nations in anger. Okay, so Esau, Edom about to get taken out of power. But the Lord is the reason that they're in the position that they're in right now. Okay, so he setteth over at the bases of men. That's why the Edomites are ruling. The lowest people on the earth are ruling the earth right now. That's how you know we're at the end. Well, the end of Esau, Edom's rulership, and the beginning of the rulership of the nation of Israel, which is you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Going on to verse 18, this dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Now thou, O Belteshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof. For as much as all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known unto me the interpretation, but thou art able. And you see, he went to an Israelite. And that's the thing with these people to understand. You can have magicians and soothsayers and wicked men, but if you want to know the truth about things, you got to go to the Israelites, man. All right? And Daniel was an Israelite, okay? For the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. And they would say spirit of the holy gods, but it's really the spirit of Yahweh Bashem El Shai was in him, okay? It says, then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was astonished for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. So basically, the Lord had to wait for an hour to be able to give him the breakdown of what it meant. It says, the king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, my lord, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies. The tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king. Thou art grown and become strong, for thy greatness is grown, and reacheth unto heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth. Hey, and is that not what's happening with America and Donald Trump too, right? It says, and whereas the king saw a watcher and a holy one coming down from heaven and saying, hew the tree down and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth, even with the band of iron and brass and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, let his portion be with the beasts of the field till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which come upon my lord the king. So he basically about to say, this is your judgment. This is what's going to happen to you. All right, that was verse 24. Verse 25 says, that they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and they shall wet thee with the dew of the heaven, and 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. So he's basically letting you know you're about to become like a beast, and this really happened to him. If you go to the next chapter, I believe, and you read this story, it lets you know how he became like a beast. His hair grew and his nails were growing, and he was eating grass like an actual animal. But the Lord restored life unto him at some point. But all this is because he was saying, I'm going to do this, and he wasn't giving glory to Yahweh Bashem El Shai. All right? It says, and whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, thy kingdom shall be sure unto thee. After that thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. Right? See, that's the thing. They don't know that the heavens rule. Yahweh rules. Yahweh Shai rules, man. The heathen don't know that. They act as if they rule the earth, and that they don't know who gave it to them. Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thine iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, if it may be a lengthening of thy tranquility. So he's basically saying, try to do good so you can be in peace for a longer period of time. He was trying to give him wise counsel. All this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar, and at the end of, so this is going into the point now, at the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, Is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty? You see, so that's kind of how Donald Trump be talking, man. Is this not great America that I built? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that by my might, my power, my majesty. That's kind of how the spirit that he's coming in, man. So it says, while the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken. The kingdom is departed from thee. You see, so in an instant, right, he got everything taken away. All right. And he was in this state for about 7 years. All right. And I'm going to just read the point because I said it was in the next chapter, but it's actually in this chapter. Verse 33 says, the same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, And he was driven from men and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers and his nails like bird's claws. You see that? So, hey, man, the Lord can turn you into a literal creature, man. You know, you be out here like goddamn Smeagol off of Lord of the Rings, man. You know, that's how the Lord can jack you up. You see? So by pride, these people, by their pride, they're going to be taken down, man. You know, but the thing is, you know, what's going to happen to Esau, Edom? And Esau, Edom going to be like this too. They're going to return to the beast that they are, man. But ultimately, Donald Trump is coming in a real proud spirit. You know, he's ready to run the show. I remember even a couple years ago, he said, if y'all vote for me again, you'll never have to worry about another president. You know, he's trying to do big things. A brother just sent something to the chat that he withdrew us from the World Health Organization, the United States from the World Health Organization. You know, so he's dividing things. It says if Satan be divided against Satan, how can they stand, man? You know, so he's shaking things up. All right, he's shaking things up, man, and you know it's for the good of prophecy. You know, we always said Donald Trump was the man for the job, and I hope through his reign and through his presidency, man, that this Yahweh Shemel Shai destroy this place and use this man as a spirit to perform his will. You know, so there was another individual in the Bible that this reminded me of as well. Okay, let me see here. And see, they gonna know that the Most High do ruleth in the kingdom of man. They gonna know, man. But I was going to. So first, I want to mention here. So, the second man that I wanted to talk about was Herod. Okay, but you know, when we read Herod, there is actually, you got to understand the Herodian dynasty. There was not just one man who was Herod. Okay, you had Herod the Great. Well, it's okay. So Herod the Great was the one who basically was coming after Yahweh Shai, okay, in his older age, okay. But Herod the Great, his father was Antipater, all right. And so Herod the Great, there were three Herods came after. Matter of fact, the word Herod just means hero, but Herod the Great in the Greek, Herod the Great, and then he had Antipas, which is his son, and then his son was Agrippa the first, and then you had Agrippa the second. So this is the Herodian dynasty. All right. So it wasn't just one man who was Herod. So a lot of times when you read Herod, you would think it's just one person because it always says that. But Herod is more of a name, a title, but it doesn't mean that was the person's name. All right. Herodache, I think is how you say it in the Greek. All right. But it just means hero. Okay. So that was like a royal family name. Okay. And, man, they were Edomites, man. All right. It said Herod the Great was the son of Antipater of Idumea. All right. They were Edomites, man. All right. But let me see here. I want to get where did you go? But he had a similar spirit of Nebuchadnezzar. So this is about Agrippa. Okay, we read the book of Acts, the 12th chapter. Okay. Let's see here. Acts 12, did I start up at this? Yeah, Acts 12. I'm going to start up at verse 10. I think I'm going to start at 10. It says, when they were past the first and the second ward, they came into the iron gate that leaded into the city, which opened to them of his own accord, and they went out and passed on through the street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. So this is when Peter was getting out of the prison. The angel was breaking him free from the prison. All right, it says, and when Peter was come to himself, he said, now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel and hath delivered me out of the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. Okay, so Peter was freed from prison by the angel, and he thought he was dreaming, but it was really taking place. All right, it says, and when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. And when she knew Peter's voice, oh no, sorry, next verse. And they said unto her, thou art mad. So they thought she was tripping because they're like, Peter's in jail. You know what I'm saying? So they said unto her, thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that it was even so. Then they said, it is his angel. But Peter continued knocking. So they basically like, yeah, that's not Peter out there. You know what I mean? He's in jail right now. How could Peter possibly be free? But it says, but Peter continued knocking. And when they opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. Call on y'all, shot. You know, that was an amazing moment. But it says, but he, beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declared unto them how the Lord had brought him out of prison. So he's basically like, hey, y'all, I got to tell y'all something. Y'all got to listen to this. Like, you know, he's beckoning them to hold their peace because they're just excited. They like, oh, my God, you out. But he's basically trying to give his testimony of Yahushua and how the angel broke him out of jail. He says, and he said, go show these things unto James and to the brethren. And he departed and went into another place. Now, as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers that was become of Peter. Right? It was like, well, Peter got out. What's going on? It says, and when Herod sought for him and found him not, he examined the keepers and commanded that they should be put to death. And he went down from Judea to Caesarea and there abode. So he's like, you know, this is Agrippa, right? He was mad. He's like, they got to die. How the hell did he get out of jail? They got to be put to death. And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon. But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus, the king's chamberlain, their friend, desired peace because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. So he feeling dripped out this day, and he's about to give a speech. You know what I'm saying? His pride is about to come over him, man. All right. And it says, the people gave a shout saying, it is the voice of a God and not of a man. You know, and that's how they acted when, you know, even when Donald Trump gives his speeches, they sit up and every time he says something they feel like is a marvel, they stand up, you know, giving him more glory, standing up, giving a standing ovation every time he says something. They think it sounds profound, right? But this is Proverbs 16 and 18. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. You see, and so that proud boy spirit, hey, man, eventually you're going to see more and more of it being more pronounced. This is his second time in there. He's the only other president to be reelected into the office ever in American history. And I think Garfield, if I'm not mistaken, let me double check. Let me fact check that. I think it was Garfield or something like that. Garfield or whatever the hell that dude name is. Only other president to be president twice. I feel like it's Garfield. President twice. Oh, Grover Cleveland. Yeah. The first Democrat elected after the Civil War, Grover Cleveland was the only president to leave the White House and return for a second term 4 years later. All right, so Grover Cleveland was the only one to do that. Now Donald Trump has done that as well. Okay. But yeah, pride goes before destruction and then haughty spirit before a fall. So he's also more proud because he's like, I've done, you know, I've been shot at, you know, I've done what one other man could do, being elected back into the office, you know. And it says, better is it to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. And man, they had Jacob there cooning on stage, singing, praying over America and singing saying the Martin Luther King speech and I have a dream and all of this nonsense, man. You know, but this is why our people gonna get destroyed, you know, walking hand in hand with their enemy, thinking that everything is gonna be all right, man. When they all of them Edomites around you don't give a damn about you. They're ready for you to lead the stage, and they just got you up there to act like they care. That's why our people do anything to seem famous, man. and to sell out, man. That's what the scriptures say. Why trimmest our ways to seek love? Man, our people are sellouts. They'll do anything for money, fame, popularity, and clout. And that's why the Lord gonna destroy them, because they don't put the Lord first. All right. Going back to Acts 12 and 22, it says, and the people gave a shout, saying, it is the voice of a God and not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not Yahweh Shemel Shai the glory. And he was eaten up of worms and gave up the ghost. You see? So immediately, so this dude was proud, just like Nebuchadnezzar. Immediately when Nebuchadnezzar was given a speech, right? He didn't give Yahweh Shemel Shai the glory. The Lord took him out, right? And now this guy, you know what I'm saying? Herod, angel smote him. And he says, because he gave not God the glory. And he was eaten up with worms. So he died. He literally died. Worms came upon him. You know, it reminds me of, who was that? Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth. You know, he was also eaten up with worms too, you know. But they say he gave up the spirit. So this dude died, man. You know, so this is a consequence of not giving the Lord the glory, you know. And so, the spirit, you know, like I said, Donald Trump did say something like God be the glory or something like that. But one of these days, man, he might just get proud and like, look what I'm doing for this nation. You know, look what I'm doing for everybody. And Lord could put him down. That could be the day Lord jack America up, man, because we waiting for this thing to end. And, you know, we were going into, the end of a reign. It says empire usually rules about 250 years. And America has been around for about 248, probably into the 49th year now. And so, man, this place is on edge, and this place can only go on so much longer. And we know that Yahweh Shemel Shai destroy it. He's going to bring it to its knees. It only can last so much longer. Look at the immense wickedness in this place. You know, the immense sodomy, the immense wicked, all the wild things that these people do, all of the terrible things that our people do, the wicked things that the Edomites do, right? The animals are suffering, you know. Things are being eaten that are not supposed to be consumed, right? You got the nation of Edom ruling the earth, man, which the name Edom is Adawam. You know, even looking at Donald Trump, you know, they try to call him orange, but he's just red, bro. He's just a shade of pink and red, man. You know, his blood show forth through his skin. And the thing is, you can't even see it all the way because they put makeup on all these guys, man. All of these men are wearing makeup, you know. But their pride and their pomp is going to be the reason, part of the reason they're falling. Right now, obviously, they're going to fall because of their disrespect towards Yahweh Shemel Shai and also what they've done to his people. And his people are the Israelites. You can't dispute that. You cannot. Anybody that argues that, they just don't know. They don't know the Bible at all. You know, God's chosen people are the Israelites. Now, you got people that believe, oh, well, his chosen people aren't the Israelite. Anybody can be an Israelite now, but that's just not the case. That's not the case. And I can read that and actually just to prove that point. In Romans, the 9th chapter, the Lord. Now, when you read about the Gentiles, right, the Gentiles they seem to be of another nation. Those are Israelite foreigners. You got natural Gentiles, which are heathen, and then you got Israelite foreigners, where we were scattered to other places, but are still Israelites. This is Romans 9, and I'll start at 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, right? His kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, right? The Israelites are God's chosen people. It says, to whom pertaineth the adoption. So anything dealing with the adoption, I try to say, we're adopted in. You got to be a part of something to be adopted back in, right? An adoption agency, you know, you are of a family, so they're taking you to a family, right? But when it comes to true adoption, it's about being a part of the original family, being brought back into that same family. It says, and the glory, so this belongs to the Israelite, the glory of the Bible, the covenants, which is the Old Covenant and the New Covenant, aka Old Testament and New Testament, and the giving of the law, it has to do with the Israelites, right? Who the law was promised to the Israelites. And the service of God, so all those who are in service, God's servants are Israelites, okay? And the promises. So all of the promises of all of the Bible belongs to the Israelites. All right. It says, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Mashiach came, who is over all, God bless forever. Amen. All right. So the Israelites are who is ordained for to receive mercy and glory from Yahweh Bashem Shai. And that's what people just don't understand, right? But the time is going to come where we're about to rule and reign on this earth, all right, through the spirit of power Yahweh Bashem Shai. But our Lord is going to get his first. Our Lord is going to receive the preeminence to be able to rule in such a fashion that's of righteousness, man. You know, but before the kingdom of heaven can be established, right? Before we can see our cities and streets paved with gold, before we can properly have our crowns, Lord willing, we be those men, right? Before we see these things to come, there are some treacherous things that have to happen. We have to see. I just thought of a verse. We have to see the micro hip implanted into people's hands, as John the Revelator foresaw. We're gonna have to see Jacob's trouble. Terrible times happen in the earth. You know, we're gonna have to see people get judged and a famine take place. You know, but these things, the Lord said He's gonna hasten those days, right? Gonna shorten those days for our sake, man. You know, but you think these people are not gonna care about who Donald Trump is real soon, man. He's gonna be a regular, everyday, common citizen, man. All right. This is 2 Ezra 15-14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword of their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So this is what's coming, where people are gonna be fighting against each other, man. Right? Donald Trump think he's uniting the states, but this is the divided states of America, and it's only going to get worse through his rule. All right, he might bring some things back that seem helpful, but ultimately, with his pride, hey, like we said, America is going to do something that makes the beast system mad, that makes EU and NATO upset, and make all of these countries want to shoot thermonuclear missiles on America. It's coming. World War III has to happen, right? And Donald Trump, he the right person to stir that up to be able to make everybody hate this place. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, right? It's going to be uprisings, man. Division, okay? It says, and invading one another, right? Men are going to be invading each other. It's going to be down to countries, kingdoms, and this is also going to come down to homes. Neighbors are going to invade each other and taking things from each other. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, right? So if they're not regarding your kings nor princes, that means you don't care about. If Donald Trump, if you happen down here in Florida, one of Donald Trump's residences is called Mar-a-Lago. Now he's the president of the United States, so obviously they're gonna have it heavily guarded and things like that. But if all out chaos ensues, right? And some people, let's assume they don't have heavy weaponry or something like that. People try to go up in there and take what Donald Trump has, right? They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, well, let's leave him alone because that's the president of the United States. They're going to be like, Donald Trump, we hungry and you have food here and we need to eat. So we're going to take that. Even his men, right? His, what they say, the Secret Service, hey, even them dudes end up turning on him, right? They said, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you're going to have it to where people, they're not going to care about who you are, your title, and your position. And this is why it's so important to be in tune with Yahweh Bashem Shai, because the Lord, he says, he have care for his elect. So his men, Lord willing, we be those men. We're going to be safe in that day, right? We're not going to be worried about the concerns of these other people. Okay, let me see here. Oh, man. I'm going to read this in the NLT. Second Ezra 15 and 14. It says, the world and the people in it are doomed. Sheesh. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. You see, so nations are going to be fighting against nation, kingdom against kingdom. So you got people fighting against people. You got people fighting against the government. All of this, it says it's going to be uprising, uproars of the people, which is the uproars of the people going to be against the government. It says there will no longer be free access to the cities. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right. It says, because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. You see that? So, mercilessly plunder their possessions. So they're going to steal. You plunder something, you take it. All right, they're going to do it without mercy. They're going to assault their neighbors, and they're not going to, basically, they're not going to give a damn. It says driven by famine and terrible suffering. So that's where I believe it says a lack of bread, you know? So driven by you not having food and the terrible situation and suffering, you're going to attack your neighbor. You're going to take what they have, and they're not going to care, man. This is the time that we're seeing that's coming, you know? But yeah, man, I just wanted to get the part of Donald Trump being pompous and proud, man. But I mean, you know, they try to act happy because they got him back in the office again. You know, we pray that Lord willing, this is the last presidency of the United States, and that you know the president, our Lord and Savior, and the true King, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, who's above a president, right, is going to rule on this earth, who is Yahweh Shai, you know, under his Father Yahweh. You know, and that's what we want to happen on this earth, man. And it will happen real soon, according to biblical prophecy. All we got to do is sit back, keep prophesying, praying, and waiting. And everything else, prophecy, going to take place on its own through the spirit of power of Yahweh Shem Shai. So, hey, Shai Bahasham Rachakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. And peace and mercy to the elect. Until next time, Shalom.